Okay, so if you've done your homework, ideally you've now defined your niche. And a niche is something you should be able to describe in 1 or 2 or 3 words. For me, for example, I am a media training expert or public speaking expert, or if I want to blend the two together, spoken communication expert. You need something that narrow, that focused, not because you're limited and you're only good at one thing, but because it's almost impossible to market yourself to the world as good at more than one thing. You confuse the marketplace. A confused customer, a confused marketplace does not buy from you. If you think you're really great at 10 things and you want to have a consulting practice where you're doing 10 things, that's all well and good, but establish yourself in one area first. Okay, so let's say you've got your niche. You now need a business model. Now that's just sort of a fancy way of saying, how do you make money? These days, it's never been easier to make money from a lot of different places. You can make money off of ebooks, self-publishing, regular publishing, producing DVDs, YouTube channel, speeches, consulting, day-long workshops, half-day workshops, seminars, keynotes in front of tens of thousands of people, speaking through Skype. There's lots and lots of different ways of making money. That's the good news. That's the easy part. The bad news is it's never been harder to make money for a lot of people because you end up just spinning your wheels going in all these different directions, never gaining traction in any one area. So you're left with a whole lot of nothing. Now, I say this not with any delight in my heart, but I've seen countless so-called professional speakers spinning their wheels and going about their revenue models all wrong. Now, the worst thing you could possibly do, in my professional opinion, is to say, well, I'm going to just write a best-selling book. So let me spend all my time for the next 4 months, and I'm going to write this book, and it's just so good that even though no one's ever heard of me and I've never written on this before, it's just going to take off and I'm going to get on the Today Show and I'll be a bestseller and then that's going to make my business. Wrong, wrong, wrong. There was a time back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, even early 80s where that did happen to some people. I don't see that happening to anyone anymore. No one simply writes a book, no platform, no following, no preceding fame, and it takes off, and then that makes their whole career as an expert anymore. The people who are selling books who are experts are selling the books because they already have a huge following. Gary Vaynerchuk, the social media guru and expert, has his books go to the top of the New York Times best-selling list in part because he has millions of fans on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube who already know him and love him. So whatever you do, do not make publishing a book as your primary revenue driver. If you do, it's really like buying a lottery ticket. Sure, there are people who win the lottery every year. But for every person who does, you have millions of people who lose a little or a lot of money. And the ones who did win, it was just blind luck. It wasn't a strategy. I'm here to help you with a strategy that you can implement to create a business as an expert. And I want to save you time and save you heartache. And this idea of creating a book and self-publishing a book and buying thousands of them and they're going to stay in your garage as a way of making your career, it ain't going to happen. You've got to figure out how can you make money the most effective way. Now, I make money in a lot of different ways. I sell ebooks, I sell video downloads, I get advertising revenue from YouTube, I have traditional books, I have books that I've self-published, I have books that I publish through small companies, I have books that I publish through Wiley, the largest business publisher in the world. I sell speeches through keynotes, through Skype, I give speeches in person to people, I do breakout sessions, seminars. I do a lot of things, and I make money from all of those things, but here's the thing. And I make money from consulting. but probably in most years, 95% of my revenue comes from one thing. It comes from organizations, typically big companies, but sometimes individuals, government entities, UN entities, hiring me for one full day of training. That's what drives my business. And I charge $7,500 a day as of this recording. That's my primary revenue driver. So all the other stuff, it really doesn't amount to much. Your business may be completely different. You may find it's lucrative for you to really sell your keynote speech and hardly do any training. That's harder and harder to do these days. You may find people are very happy to hire you for a 10-hour block of consulting. But whatever it is, I urge you, I beg you, figure out what aspect of your expertise, in what form are people willing to pay for the most. Because when it comes to my online training, people don't really pay that much. You can see the cost of this course is a lot less than $7,500. The cost of a book you can get, so my ebooks are $2, $3. So I would urge you, if you're serious about making this a real business, forget all the nonsense about, passive income. A book is great. You wake up in the morning and ka-ching, ka-ching, you've seen all this money come in. Baloney. Many of the richest people in the entire world, the most successful people, the people who make the most money, don't make any money from passive income. You look at the lawyers at the most successful law firm here in New York City who deal with intellectual property, and the average partner makes $2-3 million a year. They're not making any of that off of so-called passive income. They're making it because they're true experts on a very narrow aspect of intellectual property law, and they're able to charge more than $1,000 per hour. And they can bill 50 hours, 60 hours a week. Now, I can't bill that much every week, but I want to disabuse you of this notion of passive income. You want passive income? Then make a whole lot of money by selling your time, your expertise, and invest your money in either an index fund or a mutual fund. That's how you get passive income. But this idea of, just create a website once and sort of sit back and ka-ching, ka-ching, or write this video or this video script or this download, and it's just going to make you tons of money. Again, does it occasionally happen to people about as often as someone winning the Powerball lottery? Sure. But then you're not really going about this as a real business. You're just buying a lottery ticket. I want to give you the techniques you need to systematically create a business. So you've got to figure out, what is it that you do, what aspect of you sharing your expertise are people willing to pay the most for? Could be a speech. It could be a monthly consulting engagement. It could be a project of creating a website. You could become the world's greatest expert on creating fan websites for semi-pro soccer teams. That could be a niche. And it may be that no one ever pays you to give a speech or do a workshop, but they're more than happy to pay you $12,900 for a complete soup to nuts fan-based website. It's just a hypothetical. You've got to figure out what that is. And then once you figure out what it is, you've got to spend all your time and energy driving that home into the marketplace. Your website needs to make it really easy for people to see. All you do is create that website for these soccer fan clubs. In my case, I make it really easy for people to figure out they can hire me for a day-long media training course or a day-long public speaking course. I don't make them sift through 50 different things. Now, confession, when I did start this business really seriously, because I've been doing media training for 30 years, but when I really started it as a serious business more than a dozen years ago, I made the classic mistakes that I'm telling you not to make. On my website, I said, I can do media training and presentation training, and I can help you with new business pitches and raising money, and I can help you with messaging. And I can create internet video press releases for you. And I can create internet audio press releases for you. This is back in the year when I only made $10,000. And what I did in that second full year, or after a few months into the year and a half of my business, is every month I took one thing off my website that I did. I removed the video press releases part that I do. I removed the part where I say I can make audio press releases. And every month for a year I took something off. And then finally I got down to one thing. Presentation coaching for media and live audiences. Once I really narrowed exactly what I did down to one thing. I wasn't talking about keynote speeches, even though I give keynote speeches, but just training in workshops. That's when my expertise business took off. That's when I hit six figures. Now, I live here in New York City. Things are expensive. I don't mean to presume to know whether you want to make $100 million a year, $10 million, $1 million, $500,000, $100,000, $40,000, or just an extra $10,000. We all have different expectations, different goals, different needs. But I do want to at least give you advice that I think will help you make as much money as possible. You can always decide to donate your money to charity or to turn down gigs because you don't like it. But at some point, if you're not making real money, then it's just a hobby. And your friends and family don't take it seriously. Other people don't take it seriously. And here's the funny little thing about expertise. Your clients won't take you seriously. What I have found is that every single year when I raise my fees, my clients actually respect me more. They pay more attention. They're more likely to do exactly what I say. It's a funny thing about human nature. You ask people, what do you want, a $50 watch or a $5,000 watch? People want a $5,000 watch. They both tell time equally as well. People feel better about taking extra. What do you want, a surgeon who does a surgery for $100 or a surgeon who does heart surgery for $10,000? You want that $10,000 surgeon. You feel better about his expertise. So I'm not saying you can just major in English, be 23 years old and say, I don't know anything about business, I'll call myself a management consultant and charge $10,000 an hour. No, it's not that simple. But I do want you to realize that money is a part of this, whether you're primarily financially motivated or not, or you have a spouse supporting you. If you want to make this real, you need money. In part, you need it to further promote your business, to get more resources for yourself. I mean, if you want to be an expert on something, you need to read every book that comes out in your niche. You need to really know what everyone else is saying. Not because you're going to steal their ideas or parrot it, but in order to form your own expertise, to give your own insights, your own added value, you have to know what else is out there, which means you need to read a lot of publications, not all of them free on the internet. You need to read books, not all of them yet available in Amazon's free Kindle versions. So it's going to take money. You need money for your websites. So that's why you need money. Once you have a revenue driver, whether, as in my case, it's a public speaking day-long workshop or a media training workshop, once you have that money, you can use that money for a graphic artist to make your website better, a graphic artist to design your book cover of your ebook. There's a lot of different ways you can monetize your expertise. And I recommend experimenting with all of them, but don't bet the farm. Don't make $100,000 in your first year and take all 100 of that and gamble by self-publishing a traditional paperback book. I've seen people do it every single time. It's an unmitigated failure of epic proportion. Don't do that. Make smaller bets. Keep $90,000 for yourself. Reinvest $10,000 in your future products and future aspects of your business. And that doesn't even count the part that you need to be spending on your website and your search engine optimization. So here's your homework. I need you to create a list of every possible way that you think you could make money. And this includes writing ebook. I don't care if you consider yourself a writer or not. You want to be an expert, you're going to have to write books. Books, producing videos, ad revenue from a YouTube channel, speeches, consulting, day-long workshops, half-day and shorter seminars. I mean, those are the primary ways of making money. You could have a subscription newsletter, subscription website. Again, there's thousands of ways if we really break it down, but I want you to really list what you think the top dozen ways are for you to make money. But then I need you to figure out just one. If you could only do one thing to charge people money for, and your entire goal was to make as much money as possible, again, within your niche, what is the one thing you would do in its particular application? So if it is teaching people how to create fan-based websites in a workshop for a half day, that's the specific thing. I want to know the time period and the final outcome of what it is. Is it a book? I doubt it. Is it a speech? Probably not. Is it consulting time, a retainer, a project, a day-long workshop? What is it? I need you to write that down. That's your homework right now.